Howdy, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It's 2 o'clock. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook, as we are each and every single week, talking about all things building a custom home on your land. I'm Eric Alarid, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, joined as I am each and every single week, thankfully, by Dawn Dantzler, our Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience at Tilson Homes. Good afternoon, Dawn.
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
Wonderful. Wonderfully hot. So it is July 1st.
It's summer.
It is summer full on. So it is time for it to be no less than 97 degrees for about 4 to 5 hours a day, which is awesome. We can get lots of construction done. We can keep crushing it. So we're grateful for that hot, dry weather. We're also grateful for air conditioning. So all that to say, folks, jump in. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It's 2 o'clock. Coming at you live on YouTube, live on Facebook, as we do each and every single week. Please do drop into the chat. Look, we got overachievers that are already know the drill. They know the assignment. They understand it happening. Drop into the chat where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you are in. We want to hear from you. We want to talk about all things building on your land. So whether that is site preparation, site selection, financing, interest rates, customization, kind of put this kitchen of this house in this house. What about the master bath of this one? What about this mother-in-law suite over here? What about an alternative dwelling unit, ADU? I don't like acronyms, so folks, bear with me.
It's such a friendly term too.
I know, right? Like nothing sounds cozier than an alternative dwelling unit. Yeah. Mom, come on over. We're going to put you up in the alternative dwelling unit. Anyway, so
yeah, I think casita is a much nicer term.
You and your marketing geniuses, y'all can fix this. We can make this better. Anyway, jump into the chat, folks. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you are in. We want to know if you're just now starting this journey, or maybe just considering it. You don't have land yet, but the idea has entered your head that maybe you don't want to live in this spot for the rest of your life. It's been a great spot to raise your kids, or to hang out, or for work, or close to restaurants, or whatever. But the city is overtaking you, and maybe it's time to leave. That's okay. We're here to answer those questions. Maybe you have begun the process. Maybe you've got land somewhere. Either you bought it a couple of years ago, or you've got an eye on a piece of land, or your family gave you some land, and now you're kind of figuring out all the things you want to do to the house. You're in that design phase. You're combing the internet. You're binging content, obviously from our YouTube channel, which is where you would do that if you want to learn anything at all. And then maybe you've already taken the leap. You took the courage. You trusted us. You're in this process, and you've done your color selections, or you've done your site evaluation, and you're completing that list of things to do to get this house under construction. Maybe you're in construction. Maybe you're in construction. You got questions like, "Hey, what happens after all the framing goes up, and there's people out here like drilling holes in my studs, running electrical wire through that? What's that all about? How does that work? What do we do?" Ask those questions. Maybe you've already been there, done that. You're sitting in your air-conditioned house, your glass of iced tea, the condensation's pouring down off of it, and you're enjoying that space. So jump into the chat. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in. While you're doing that, Dawn will tell us what in the world we're talking about today.
All right. Well, last week we did my favorite topic, which was showing off a customer's home. So this week it's only fair that we do Eric's favorite topic, which is Stump Eric. So it's ask us anything. We have our phones at the ready for phoning a friend if we need support. But we are here to answer all of those burning questions that you guys have on all those topics that Eric was talking about. We can talk about other things that aren't related to built on your land, but our answers get less reliable. Like the further you get away from that topic, we each have our own little niches. I can talk to you about crochet patterns. Eric can talk to you about guitars. But we go beyond that.
Presently, I'm a subject matter expert in getting deeper and deeper into pond aeration and pond management. This is a struggle here right now. A lot of algae going on.
These are good things. These are good things to know.
A lot of water vegetation happening, getting in the way of my fish, bothering me. Air compressors wearing out, pistons wearing out. Anyway, we can talk about those things. Companies shipping you the wrong parts. This is an issue.
Yep. See, I can't help you with fresh water. I can help you with salt water.
I do. I dabble in salt water.
I can help you with saltwater aquariums, but my key piece of advice is going to be don't. Just don't.
Perfect.
Just take your money and flush it directly down the toilet. Skip the middleman. It'll make
and you don't have to worry about smelly fish.
Yeah, it just makes it a lot less stressful. But
it's fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so folks, do jump into the chat where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in, and especially any and all questions you may have regarding building a home on your land. That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about septic systems, water wells, culverts, construction drives, clearing, design changes, tankless water heaters, regular water heaters. Do you want a tub in your master bath? Do you not? How big can you make the shower? How do you do the waterproofing? All that kind of good stuff we're here to talk about. Do I need a water softener? Do I not need a water softener? We're here to hear about that and talk about it.
And Tyler, if you have any of those questions, you ask them now, because we are going to be on summer break. So
it's true.
Our schedules, we are going to be off for the next 3 weeks. So this is a good time to ask us questions.
I blame our children.
I do too. It is very much their fault. We've got college orientations, and then like there was a work thing. They want us to do real work, guys, instead of talking.
That. Yes.
Stuff.
But if you would like to lobby for us to have a show during the week of the 14th, 15th, you just get a hold of us.
Yes, if we get enough opinions of that, we could probably excuse ourselves.
I could visit with Uncle Eddie about that, and we could figure out and see if we could get that time off. I don't like the odds, but I'm a sales guy. I've been told no 1,000 times. What's one more? So,
we should run a poll. If you guys think that we should be on the 14th, put it in the chat. But
put it into the chat. We will plead our case to the president CEO, and he will say, "Awesome, no."
So, and then we'll just do a pop-up live and put it on the screen.
Where you're building, part of the process you're in. Dawn, we got some folks joining us.
We do.
Who is here watching us?
We've got Nathan joining us from Marble Falls.
Oh, beautiful.
We've got Tracy in Bell County.
Nice.
And she is planning to build in Milam County. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry, Milam. We've got Ann saying howdy, saying from Frisco. Still dreaming of a Tilson home in Mildred, waiting for a couple of things to fall into place.
Hey, awesome. As are we.
And then we've got Denise saying hello, building a Canyon D in Chapel Hill. Lumber drop last week, so hoping to see some walls when we drive up tomorrow. Oh, that's exciting.
You likely will, yes. You likely will.
So exciting. And she says that we should be live.
All right.
Tick her down for yes.
One vote for. I guess you could vote against. You could say no. It's possible.
Yeah, you could say no.
If you want to crush.
We might cry, but you could. You got Alicia saying Rob and Alicia visiting from Germany. Hey.
Very cool. Again. My daughter's headed there for a mission trip this summer. That's happening.
Oh, wow.
Sometime this month. Fun. Also, among the other things that are going on.
Which part's she going to?
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
The German part? I don't know.
The German? The part where they speak German?
Frankfurt, I want to say. I know they fly into Frankfurt, but I think everybody does from Houston. So that's the deal. All right. So, dude, jump in to the chat, where you're watching from, where you're building, part of the process, questions about on your lot, questions about construction. We see a question right on culverts. We got stuff going on there. It's not really a question, but it's.
We can talk about culverts.
We can 100% talk about culverts.
Lindsay's waiting for hers in Galveston County.
All right. Very important place for a culvert. They tend to get a little water there.
Yeah, you definitely want that water to be able to move.
Especially this time of year. So, so what is Dawn, what is a culvert? That's a weird word.
That's not fair. That's usually my question. Because I didn't know many, many years ago. So a culvert, when you're looking between a road and like a driveway or a turnoff, it is it's that pipe that's running underneath the driveway. And it's just allowing the water, usually there's a ditch there. It's just a way for that water to pass through and keep going, and making sure that your driveway doesn't end up being a dam. So you don't want water to get backed up, because then it floods the road. It could flood your house, all of that. So really, that's all it is. That's all a culvert is. It's a fancy word for the pipe that goes underneath. It's a pipe. It's a pipe. So it's just a way of getting water from one point to the other, and making sure that you're not disturbing water flow when you do new construction.
That's right. They can be plastic. They can be concrete. It is important that so depending on where you are, a lot of times, in all the cases, the counties are responsible for flood control. So Galveston County is responsible for making sure water moves. They're responsible to FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. So let's do what you should always do when it comes to government: follow the money. So the way this works is, if there's a disaster or a catastrophe, the most recent one probably everybody heard about was out in the Asheville, North Carolina area, where they're waiting on money from FEMA. Okay, well, to get money from FEMA, the president, or in some cases the governors, can declare a natural disaster for a certain county area. And when they do that, that's when it's like, okay, there's federal money on the table available now to help help this out, help with cleanup, help with all that kind of stuff. And then what FEMA's going to go in and do, though, is say, cool, no problem. We'll be glad to hand over some money, so long as you can prove to us that you did what you're supposed to do to mitigate flood control. So the counties are responsible to making sure, and we have some questions about right diameters, sloping the right direction. So a lot of times the counties will want to set it, or you have to get an approval of size. So in most places, Stephen, where diameter, so the diameter of whether it's 12-inch, 18-inch, 24-inch, two 24-inch culverts, the precinct of whatever county you're building in is going to make that determination. So you'll get like a 911 address. You'll go to the county, tell them where you're considering building, where your property is. They'll pull it up on their flood maps, and they'll say, okay, on, Holiday Shores Lane in, Dickinson, Texas, here's a Galveston County town. It is determined that on this particular road, you need an 18-inch diameter culvert. So they want that much volume of water, 18 inches, to be able to flow through there at all times. So the precinct of the county that you're building in typically determines that. In some cases, it is the Office of Emergency Management of that county. In most cases, it is the precinct. So you got usually most counties have 4 to 6 precincts, and those are led by the county commissioners. So you got Commissioner Precinct 1, Precinct 2. Those are elected officials. You vote on them, and they kind of report up to the county judge. So the county judge, and this is in Texas, by the way. I'm not speaking for the whole country, but in Texas, that's kind of the hierarchy of county authority. You got the county judge that's elected at large by the county, and then beneath him are commissioners from each of the 4 to 6 precincts. They are the ones ultimately responsible for this. And making sure that happens. So, but all the dirt contractors we use can set them. It just depends on precinct to precinct and county to county if they'll allow that to do it. In some cases, they just want you to deliver the culvert and 2 loads of stabilized sand or material, and the county will set it. They want to bring their own grade all out. They want to kind of clear it out, set it the right height. They have to set it to the right. It actually should be a little out of level. That's the whole point. It should never sit level. That's a problem. You always want it to kind of slope one way or the other, ideally downhill. So that's how that's determined. Yeah, by the precinct of the county in which you are building. Great question.
Awesome. And then Denise is sharing that sometimes you have to put very expensive end caps on either side of the culvert.
I've never seen $1 million ones. However, they are expensive. It's silly. That's usually we see that, Denise, as you well know, in subdivisions. So some subdivisions, deed restricted subdivisions, homeowner associations, they do require some type of bulkheads or decorative ends on either end of the culvert. So you've sometimes seen that when you're pulling into a driveway and there's pretty little curbs on both sides. We have a little solar light on there. They're wonderful for backing your wife's SUV off into the ditch. May have happened.
May or may not be a true story.
20 years. I didn't do it. I have backed a car into a light pole with a backup camera. That did happen. In my defense, it was first generation backup camera.
They weren't good. They were not good. In which case, by the way, of course, my grandfather was in the passenger seat, and he just never broke character, stared straight forward and said, I'd rather have mirrors than a backup camera. Fair enough. Anyway, so that's when that comes in. The other instance is, and actually going back to Stephen's question, if you are on a state highway, so if you are on a farm to market road, FM, fill in the blank, ranch to market road, RM, ranch road, that's a hill country thing. FM is a North Texas and Gulf Coast thing. Ranch road or ranch market road is a Central Texas thing. Those are state highways. They are governed by the Texas Department of Transportation, TxDOT, and obviously highways. So like Highway 105, Highway 90. Those are state, and then even obviously interstate. Those are also governed by TxDOT. In any of those situations, a farm to market road, ranch road, state highway, or interstate, a federal state or U.S. highway, 190, 290, any of the 287, only TxDOT can approve those. They will tell you what. It doesn't mean they have to install it. In fact, they're not going to install it, but they have very specific
instructions and specifications that those have to be built to. They have kill zone radiuses, they have sloped ends, they have all kinds of things. Like they determine the diameter. So in those, I know I said the precinct determines it. That's on county roads, county maintained roads. If it is a state road, TxDOT or Texas Department of Transportation will handle that. There are TxDOT offices in every single county in the state of Texas. In some cases, there are multiple. So they are more expensive because they require a bunch of other apparatus.
$1 million end caps?
Not quite million. Not quite million. You get carried away. But they're not inexpensive. I mean, you probably to get a culvert put in on a state right of way, it's going to be about $6,500 to start the engines for their. And most of them, they have a maximum width of like 26 feet, which is plenty. But for residential, 26 feet is kind of your maximum length you can have. That's plenty for a truck and a trailer and all that kind of good stuff. But
awesome.
There's culverts. Wow. That's
a
lot of info on culverts.
Everything you never wanted to know. Never thought you needed to know.
Just to drive onto your property.
Yes. So then we've got Robert. He's sharing, hey guys, getting ready for a stakeout in Bernie. Awesome.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
And Stephen is saying, yeah, it's always more fun when TxDOT is involved. It's always a party. Always a party.
Picture of efficiency, I will tell you. It's I've told the story before on here, but yes, when I bought the property I live on now, it's on a state highway. There was a culvert there. It was 10 feet wide. Doesn't count. Like that's small. And over a 7-week period, going back and forth with TxDOT, telling me all different places I needed to put it, but there were all kinds of things there, like telephone poles and fiber optic cable and all kinds of other stuff. After 7 weeks of back and forth, we decided it needed to go exactly where it was for the last 57 years.
Imagine.
Just 7 weeks. No big deal.
It's no big deal.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Also, they couldn't meet me on my 50 acres because it was COVID. It was not safe.
It was unsafe. Yeah.
Unsafe.
I remember that.
What if I stay in my truck and you stay in yours and we just like talk on a speakerphone? Nope. Also, we don't work on Fridays right now. Because
safety first.
Anyway, to your point, Stephen, it was a rodeo. I will say some offices are different than others. They aren't all that way.
Well, and that was different times too. So everybody was a little weird. So Stacy's asking, what's the price range for culverts? How do you determine the type of culvert you need, meaning concrete, etc.? I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Sure. All right, Stacy. Yes. So they vary in price. I would say you're probably looking at no less than $3,000 or $3,500, and that's for the total install. So I mean, that's the pipe, that's some stabilized sand material, that's at least some degree of, maybe 4 inches of gravel or crushed rock on top of it, and then the labor to do that itself. I'd probably bump that to like 4,000 these days. Diesel has not come down like it needs to, but you typically need 16 to 20 feet of pipe, whether that's concrete or HDPE or high density plastic. I'll get to that in a second. Whether you need 16 to 20 feet is normally big plenty. And then you'll need probably 2 loads of some type of a stabilized sand or a clay or something to set the culvert in, and then a load, maybe 2 of rock on top of that. So to support the weight of heavy equipment. So dump trucks, concrete trucks, lumber trucks. That all being said, honestly, it doesn't matter which type you use. I prefer the concrete culverts. If you're going to be on a state highway, they're going to almost demand that it be a concrete culvert. In fact, they are going to demand be a concrete culvert, and they concrete ends that kind of have they look like trapezoidal shaped things you see. The idea being that if a car were to hit it at high speed, it's not going to just smash into it like in Denise's place. It's actually it'll ramp that car up Dukes of Hazzard style, which is always fun to watch.
That's an adventure.
I know. And then the other thing would be, but either of those, concrete or the corrugated plastic pipe, black giant plastic, they'll hold the weight. If they're installed properly with the right material on top of them, they'll hold over 80,000 pounds. No problem. So it's where most people fall short is they won't put enough material on top of it. So obviously you're not driving. You don't want any portion of that plastic exposed on top. And the ends is okay, but on the top, it's not. And then be sure the material goes out as wide as it can without back washing into the pipe itself. Sometimes you'll get like an 18 or 20-foot pipe, and they'll leave 3 feet of exposed pipe on both ends. Don't do that, because what's going to happen is as that concrete or dump truck's pulling in, inevitably the front tires are going to be fine. The back tires, which are, by the way, where all the weight is, you're going to cut the corner short, and that's where you see culverts kind of get crushed and that kind of good stuff. Not the end of the world. They can be dug up and reset, but that's a great. I'm a fan of the concrete, but I've used both. I've used the concrete and the high density, the corrugated black plastic pipe. They work fine. They're both great.
Okay, awesome.
I'm kind of away from the galvanized. That's an older way to do it, but we don't do the galvanized pipe anymore. Some people do. It can be done. But so the range, though, we didn't give range. So they start at that $3,500, $4,000 mark. They can go up to $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 depending on where you are. So if you got an instance where it was like a super deep ditch or a super wide ditch, actually, I think one of the places across from where I live, they have the ditch is way bigger over there. They have 2 24-inch pipes side by side. So obviously, that's going to take double the amount of pipe, probably double the amount of material, right? Because you're covering a further distance to go across that ditch. So it really comes down to the size of the ditch that we're trying to cross. But it will be what it will be, and we can get it done. So
yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Anything else, one?
No. Anything else we want to talk about other than culverts?
So for sure. Keep dropping your questions into the chat. We can talk about septic systems, water wells. We can talk about permitting. We can talk about financing, design changes. We want to hear from you guys. We can talk about pricing, different kind of prices that are done. We can talk about easy buy. If you want to talk about that, we can talk about one-time closes. We have information on that as well. We can also talk about what else? Things that are up and coming. Cost per square foot. Oh, Marble Falls.
Right. Nathan's asking the San Jacinto floor plan in Marble Falls. Do you know the cost per square foot?
That's a Burnett County question there, Dawn. Do you have your mini e-price book available?
I do.
So, and while you're looking it up, I'll address the per square foot thing, Nathan. So we typically not typically. We don't price anything by the square foot. There's a reason why. So we, whether something is, it depends. We do what's called upfront desktop pricing. So in other words, you could take 2 2,500 square foot houses, set them side by side. San Francisco is a great case in point. And they could be $100,000 difference. And it's going to come down to the complexity of the design. So it's not just about, although there's a certain about, but the complexity of design. So roof pitches, number of corners on the house, quite frankly, or offsets, and then also the finish out, which does play into it. I know you're asking for base pricing, which what Don's going to give you here in a second, but truly finish out can make a significant difference. But the biggest thing is complexity of design. So you could have it for very simple exercises. You could have a 50-foot by 2-foot rectangle that's 100 square feet, or you could have a 10 by 10 square that's 100 square feet. They're identical square footage. One of them has 40 feet of exterior perimeter. One of them has 104 feet of exterior perimeter. So we know, without knowing ceiling heights, what kind of facade we're using, stone, stucco, whatever, floor coverings, cabinet hardware, cabinet finish, plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, all that. We know without a doubt on foundation and frame, roof alone, we're going to have 2.5 times more man hours, waste, all that on the 104 on the 50 by 2 foot than on the 10 by 10. I know that's a super extreme and kind of silly example, but it really does resonate true. So we stay away from price per square foot, and we encourage our customers not to shop based on price per square foot. What's the other reason, Dawn? Because square footage is a very
well, square footage, if you are shopping by square footage, make sure that you are getting from the builder what they're defining as part of that square footage. Because on our website, when we are listing square footage, we are giving you the the conditioned living area. So that's the parts of the home that you are heating and cooling. Some builders are going to include, they're going to give you the square footage of, foundation size. So that's going to add in your porches, your garages, things like that aren't conditioned space. So just make sure if you are looking at price per square foot that you're comparing apples to apples on that. So all of that being said, the San Jacinto plan in Burnett County as of today, July 1st, 2025 is going to start at $452,800. And that's including all of those included features that are part of the plan. So that's your stone on the exterior. There's a stone wall in the kitchen. Your kitchen's going to have all of the pullouts. There's several rooms that have really nice ceiling treatments with the beam, with the box beam wood and all of that. So that is the price of that home.
Yeah, that's your spray foam insulation. That's your Linux HVAC equipment. The manual J done on that. Dehumidifier. Tiling all the wet areas. Owens Corning shingles. Crestmark lifetime windows. All that kind of good stuff. Also, Nathan, that is for unincorporated Burnett County. So if you're actually inside the city limits of Marble Falls, there could be some additional permitting fees and certainly tap fees and that kind of stuff, impact fees that the city would charge. But we have all that information as well.
Any of our consultants can get you that information. I'm not sure where on the scale Marble Falls falls. Yeah. Let's see. We've got Anne saying the new quarterly price book came out. Did anything drop in price by any chance? Actually, the quarterly price book did not come out yet. We change everything on the first Monday of the quarter. So even though it is July 1st and in everyone else's world, it's the first day of the quarter. We don't count it until Monday. So July 7th is when everything would change. So I have not seen it yet. But it is right pricing. So it could go up, could go down.
Yeah, some can go up, some can go down. We true that up with vendors, trade partners, all that kind of stuff every quarter. Chris Alarid, that guy, Justin Rich, their teams work very diligently to get that stuff done. Or at least Justin Rich does. I don't know about that Chris Alarid guy, but Justin works.
That Eddie Fisher guy works really hard on it.
Eddie works very hard at doing it.
He works the most on it, I think.
Agreed.
But yeah, so that's what's going on with that. The great news though, Anne, is I'm sure once you sign that price, that's the price. The price is the price. So regardless of what happens next quarter or the quarter after that, that is the price for you. And as long as everything is moving along smoothly, we're not going to change it if something happens that causes prices to go up. Ed Garcia is saying, I'll try and keep this brief. Last week we flew to Texas and attended a seminar at the Georgetown Tilson office. The information was great, and we also had the opportunity to tour the models there. We then drove to the Bryan office and toured the Canyon model in person, which helped solidify our decision to choose the Canyon. Michael Brown guided us through the Canyon, and he was fantastic. Oh, awesome. I'd also like to give a big shout out to Kimberly from the Bernie office. She helped arrange for Alan to visit our property. He was impressed and provided us with valuable insights. We feel much better that we are on the right path toward our Tilson build.
Fantastic.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Ed. I'm glad to hear that.
Saying that.
Glad you got to make the trip from Seattle.
Yes.
Let's see. Then we've got Steven saying, $1 million question. Your opinions on impending rate reductions. What are you guys projecting?
I'll tell you what. I'll put the crystal ball out there. I'm projecting not one for July, but I am projecting one for September. I don't know why. I just feel like there's been a lot of banter back and forth between a couple of offices over there in DC, and there may be some ego heel digging in situation going on, which is
they're going to want some good news.
Inexcusable, but I foresee probably not July, but I hope I'm wrong. The beautiful part is about with Easy Buy is you actually aren't locking that rate in until the house is very close to being finished, usually about maybe 30 to 60 days out from the house being completed. Which you can lock it in for free at that point. You can lock it before that for a fee, but I wouldn't lock a rate in right now because, like you said, just like you and everybody else, we're talking about impending rate reductions, not increases. So that's one of the really cool advantages of Tilson's Easy Buy program is it actually doesn't matter that much what the rate is today if society in general is predicting rates to go down in the future in the next 6 to 12 months, because you're going to be between the start process and then the construction process of Tilson, you're probably 8 to 10 months to complete from the day you give us the deposit. So it really doesn't matter what rates are today. So that's a really cool, very good question. And there's my prediction. I reserve the right to be completely dead wrong.
All right. Awesome.
Ask my wife.
Jessica's saying, I'm on the completion side, absolutely loving our home. And I wanted to ask something I recall hearing about early on. We are not from Texas, so this is a whole new ballgame with the heat. And I swear I was told to water our foundation in the really hot months so the soil doesn't dry up and pull away from the house. Can you speak to this? Thanks in advance. I
can speak to that, Jessica. And actually, we probably even have a video or two that speak to it further, right? So we do have some warranty videos,
let me find Jessica, that for you.
That Don will drop into the comments. But yeah, so I mean, and again, this is not universal. We're talking Tilson builds in 114 counties across the state of Texas. It's an area about the size of California that we build in. So obviously we encounter different soil types, and not every soil type is the same. But that being said, yes, if you're in a drought, we do the soil samples for a reason. That is kind of to determine, and they put your dirt through some tests. How's it going to respond to excess moisture? How's it going to respond to lack of moisture? What's the plasticity index, which is fancy words for how much does it move? What's the potential vertical rise? What's the center lift? What's the edge lift? Or I would call one center drop, but that's over here to there. I'm not an engineer. So they test for all those things. They give that data to the engineer, and they design the foundation for hey, 80% of the time, this is how it's going to perform. Because it really is. I mean, if you design every foundation for the most extreme conditions, the houses would be unaffordable, truly. And there'd still be no guarantee that something wouldn't happen. So that being said, if you go through a period of, 3, 4, 5 weeks without rain, it's probably time to start thinking about watering around the perimeter of the foundation. The most important thing in doing that is that it be done evenly. So you don't want to water just the front or just the back or just one side. You do want to be sure that water distribution is the same all the way around. Where we typically see issues is not in those situations. It's where there's maybe, 2 or 3 pretty good sized trees on one side of the house, and then just absolutely nothing on the back, front, and other side. Because truth be told, even like a small, we call them cedar trees, but they're technically ash junipers. But picture your classic Texas cedar tree that makes you sneeze. Just an average size one of those could about 25 gallons a day of water. So you can imagine what like a big 18 or 20 or 30 inch oak tree takes in, probably maybe 6 or 7 times that much water. So if you're already in a drought situation and then you have a bunch of trees on one side of the house, literally sucking water out of the ground to stay alive, you're going to have uneven water distribution below where you can see it. The edge is the most important part to water around because that's what dries out first, right? So sun's not getting to the middle of your foundation. So the moisture stays pretty consistent underneath the middle of your house. The concern is where it's drying out around the edges. So that would be, and you can overdo it. Like you don't have to have a hose running all day. It's super simple to put them on a timer. Our warranty team can walk you through that on where to get the timer in a local hardware store, hook up a hose or two to it, a soaker hose, and run it maybe twice a day for a couple 15 minutes. Like it doesn't have to be this massive soaking. And again, not all the time. It doesn't need to happen all the time. It needs to happen in a drought.
Yeah. And Jessica, I dropped into the chat a link to a post on our blog where Richard Webb, the wonderful man who is in charge of all of our model homes and making sure that they all look great for you guys. He did a demo on how to set everything up for us. So it's got pictures of the materials you need, where you can find them, and exactly how far to put them from your house and all that to make it very simple to do that. And like Eric was saying, the biggest thing is just make sure you have consistent moisture around that house. You don't want to over soak. You don't want you want to make sure everything's kind of even up. So Richard gave some great tips on how to do that. Yeah. And if you have any questions, our customer care team is there to answer your calls and help you out. And then let's see. Nathan is saying, so the condition space on the San Jacinto is $24.95. That is correct. All in the total slab, which includes the really big front and back porch on that home, is 2,853 square feet of total. That's total concrete, in case you're looking for that. And Denise is asking, are black frame windows an option now? Would there be an option to change hours?
They are an option, Denise, but unfortunately, no. If you've already got lumber pack dropped, we probably bought those windows for your house close to 6 weeks ago. And they're likely sitting at a McCoy's distribution center or at a McCoy's store, just waiting on the PO to be released. So I'm sorry, but it's probably too late to change those out.
Okay. And then Alicia is asking, we were told that we would not get anyone to take a look at our site until we are under contract. We flew from Germany and we're disappointed. Are you doing site visits before contract or no?
Okay, so in certain cases, yes, Alicia, I'm sorry that happened. I mean, clearly we missed the mark there on how far you were
Mhm.
coming, but like in Ed's case, you're coming from Seattle, coming from Germany.
Germany, you
Um,
win.
we could make an accommodation to do that. It also depends on, I don't know what the timing was and what the local site evaluator schedule looked like, because it does come down to that as well. We're always going to have to take care of the customers that are paying us first. That's just part of when they give us a deposit, they're a customer, they're first in line. And then it depends on the bandwidth of a certain area. So sometimes a county could have been overloaded. I don't know. I'm not offering an
Mhm.
excuse. I'm trying to do the benefit of the doubt for the team. But yes, we could. If you were coming in from Germany, we would absolutely make that accommodation. But if we did, it's one of those things that if we did it for everybody, we couldn't get our steakhouse done for our customers. So
Yeah.
good question, Alicia. Sorry that happened.
Yeah. And then Jessica saying, thank you. I appreciate that thorough explanation.
We know no other kind of explanation than a thorough one, Jessica. That's what we do best.
Awesome.
Great questions, guys. Yeah, so keep the questions coming. Obviously, anything you want to know about the site preparation stuff, about foundations, about warranties, how that works, what it's like to have what is the difference, Dom, between Tilson's customer care and warranty team and kind of most other builders? How is it handled? A lot of other home builders, do they have their own? Do the builders handle it? How's it work?
So the biggest thing is going to be when you pick up the phone and you call somebody, you're actually calling a Tilson employee. So we have our own in-house customer care team. So the person who is answering the phone, talking to you about your house is a Tilson employee, unless what is going on with your house is something that requires a specific type of contractor, like an HVAC or a plumber or an electrician, something that they need to be licensed for. The tech that's coming out is also a Tilson employee. So they're coming in and they have their Tilson truck, Tilson van, and they are our employees. Most other builders outsource that. So they have contracted with another company to handle all of their warranty work. And it's not actually the person coming out to your house had nothing to do with building it and doesn't really have an ongoing relationship with the people who did. Whereas we have the full history of everything that happened with your build. And that is an employee who is accountable to us for everything that they're doing. So that's
in addition to that, a lot of the builders, they put it on their building superintendents, their project managers, whose primary job and role is to build and close houses. So to build new houses and get them closed, get the customers in them. So sometimes the warranty stuff kind of gets pushed down the priority list.
Yeah.
And
and any resource that they would have to pull in for a crew is going to be somebody used to working in a home that's empty, which is not what you want when your home is finished.
Could be dangerous. Could be dangerous. Things happen. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So going around the state, Dawn, what do we have happening in various different places? Not to end up, but y'all keep dropping your questions into the chat. We'll answer every single one of them, however long it takes. We want to be here for you guys, get those questions answered.
Yeah. So this weekend it's a little quiet. There's a little holiday on Friday. So all of Tilson will be closed on Friday for the 4th of July. So we don't have any seminars this weekend, but we do come back with a lot of seminars next weekend. So we're going to be having events on the 12th in Waxahachie, Bernie, San Marcos, and Spring next weekend. So lots of seminars to go, and we have finished up construction on the 2 new models, the Brazoria in Spring and the Cisco in Weatherford. The Cisco is the major components of the landscaping are finished. There's one more. Richard wanted to add another trellis just to make it a little prettier. So that is going to be finalized next week. So we're excited that we'll have final pictures and virtual tours and everything for you guys, and we can schedule the videos. The Brazoria is completely finished. They're still working on the landscaping. It'll go a lot faster now that it's dried out. It's finally had a chance to the heat sucked all the moisture out of the ground. So we should be finishing up with that one soon, so that we'll have the same. And we are planning grand openings for those. It's looking like September for both of those that we'll be having those events. And then if anybody wants to start planning ahead, Eric and I will actually be in Waxahachie on August 2nd. I know that's far, far away, but we will both be there, and Eric will actually be presenting the Built on Your Lot
It's
seminar.
like a month.
I know it's like a month, but people like to plan. You asked what's going on in the state. That's what I did.
That's it. You nailed it. All right, very cool. Jennifer's mentioning a very interesting new venture that we're doing.
Yeah, so Jennifer's saying she loves having the app. My questions are always answered in a timely manner by someone on my team. Oh, that's awesome.
Tilson has an app for that? Are you kidding me?
Very exciting. So yes, we've partnered with a company called Novi Home, so that we have an app. So on on your screen on your phone, you'll see a Tilson Home logo. So once you sign your contract with us, one of my wonderful customer experience ambassadors is going to put you into the app, and everyone that you are currently dealing with on your home is going to be in that app. So in the chat. So it's one place where you can organize all of your Tilson conversations. All of us can see what's being said in the chat. So anybody can jump in. Anybody who has the answer to the question can jump in and answer it. It's also a great place for us to, upload pictures so you can keep track of everything that's going on in your journey. It's a good place for you to send pictures back to us. So it's got all the capabilities built in that you'd usually have on your iPhone to like circle what you're talking about and point out things. But yeah, we're loving it. I'm glad to hear that you're having a great experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great, glad you're using it, and keep using it. So it's kind of in its infancy as far as across the state. So if you're on here and you're like, I don't see it, Dawn and her team just got done rolling it out to everybody. So we're working on gaining traction right now. But yeah, it's a really, really phenomenal tool. Keeps you guys engaged. And hopefully keeps you up to date. And it's just hopefully a very convenient and comfortable way for y'all to communicate with us. That's central. You don't have a text message going with your sales consultant, a different text message going with your building superintendent, a different text message going with so we're trying to get everybody one
spot,
1,000 points of light. That's my old school Saturday Night Live, Dana Carvey, George H.W. Bush. There you go. Pitiful, but if you know, you know. Anyway,
if you don't have it and you want it, if you don't think you have it yet, if you're not under construction, reach out to your sales consultant and they will let us know to make sure that you get in it. If you're under construction, reach out to your builder because they're the leaders of the team during their point, so they can let them know you want it and they'll start using it.
Look at us just cruising into the 21st century. 25
I know.
years
Look at
started.
that. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm glad that you're having a great experience. Tracy is asking, is there a virtual online space to see the current interior design choices so we can be more ready at our appointment with the designer?
I'm gonna mute right now. Go ahead.
Not yet. So it's a very extensive list of things that we have. So we are still kind of working out the best way to do it. That is definitely something that is on our radar as things that we want to develop. Kind of our halfway point, Tracy, is we have put together some like design style guides using some of our selections. If you're looking for a farmhouse style, we've put together some selections of what our designers say will absolutely look good. So that is something that you can see on our website right now, those palettes. If there's anything specific that you're looking at, we do have some individual PDFs. I'll warn you, they're not that pretty. But if you reach out to your sales consultant, they can send those over if there's something that you wanna view ahead of time. And then also, as always, all of those selections are in the color room. So as long as there's not another customer already in that space at your design center, going through all of those options, you are welcome to come and look as many times as you want prior to your appointment if you want to be doing some thought work ahead of time.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Great questions. All right. So, folks, we will do unless you have anything else, Dawn, I'll do a last call for questions.
No.
All right. So we'll do a last call for questions here going in. Again, anything you want to talk about design-wise, site evaluation, site preparation-wise, land selection, financing, customization, plan changes, talk about all those things. Obviously, we want everyone to have a safe and happy 4th of July. That's going to be pretty cool. 249th birthday of this great country. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, wow.
I've been here for a bunch of them. Anyway, so obviously the journey does not have to end here. We're easy to get a hold of. We have a website that's open 24/7, like Don was talking about, that's got a ton of content on there, all the custom options you can do to all of our plans, all the floor plans, base county pricing, all that stuff is out there. We got an Instagram page where we share, cool things about our customers. I love Milestone Monday. I think that's a super cool deal that we do, sharing what's going on. We also have a Facebook page, which most of you know about because that's how you're watching this. A lot of good content there. We have a YouTube channel. Dawn, is there any videos on the YouTube channel?
None, no.
Good.
There's only all of the back episodes of this, so all 221 of them, or however many there are. And then the full construction process. There are customer home tours that you can watch, model home tours, customer stories where they talk about how their journey went. Just a few things that could keep you busy.
You could just several hundred hours of content
Yeah.
that you could watch.
And then there's a blog on our website that has over 400 articles, so lots of places for you to learn more. Yeah.
Golly. All right. Also, in addition to all that stuff, digitally accessible, we actually have model homes and design centers like with air conditioning and cold water and coffee and models that
Snacks.
you can store, snacks, and all of the things that you select. So all your cabinet selections, all of your cabinet hardware, your light fixtures, door samples, stone samples, brick, stucco, paint colors, floor coverings, all that stuff is at every single one of our individual design centers. You don't have to drive to some far off centralized location. Literally all 12 design centers have all of our selections there for you to go tour. You can touch, feel, see what they look like, put them beside each other, take them outside for the most part. Some you can't because they're heavy and I won't let you.
The stone's attached to the wall, so it's got to stay. Yeah.
Please don't mess with that. It'll break toes. It's not fun.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, not that that's ever happened.
Not to a customer. It's fine.
Right. Knock on some wood.
Knock on everything.
We're here. All right. So anyway, don't let the journey end here, folks. We're easy to get a hold of. We got new home specialists on standby through the website. You can text with them. You can call and talk to them. Ask them high-level questions. They can help set you up with an appointment at your nearest design center to what's convenient for you. You get to take Nathan through a pricing exercise.
Yes.
Nathan, great question.
Great question, Nathan. Let me show you. So on our website, there are two places that you can, well, there's many places, but there's two general templates where you can see our pricing. So if you go up to this Our Homes and you pick your floor plan, pick the floor plans menu right here where it says any county. If you choose your county and yours is Burnett. So when you pick Burnett County, down in this list, your prices are going to populate. There you go. Well, let me explain. I see you found it. Let me explain. This range that you are seeing here, so on this Arlington, this range that you're seeing is for the base plan in the different exterior elevations. So that Arlington home is going to have 4 exterior options, and that price that you're seeing is the cost for those different exteriors. And then we also do include through custom options, we can make it larger or smaller, but to see what is actually included in that plan, when you go to the website, there'll be a picture of the floor plan. This is the floor plan that it is pricing out. That's the price for this floor plan in the different exterior options. All right.
Thank you for asking, Nathan, because someone else years from now we'll go in and see where that, and they'll laugh at the prices. So that'll be fine. Yeah.
All right. And then Jennifer's saying, going into design appointment, the blog helped us. We also played with the virtual tool on the website. Mm-hmm. It helped us when meeting with the designer, so she had an idea of what we liked and didn't overwhelm us. Oh, awesome. Glad to hear that.
Thank you for sharing, Jennifer. Appreciate that.
And then let's see, we've got Azoldi Karen. Howdy, from the bottom of our heart. We want to thank the Katie office team for going above and beyond for helping us secure our permit. Your commitment to excellence are qualities that we truly admired, and we are so lucky to have each and every one of you on our side. Ashley, Daniel, Dylan, Viviana, David, and Sir Eric. Yay. Eric, you can be our county judge so you can fix the system and make it sensible. I'm
going to tell you what. Isolda, I know, and Mr. David Hazy called me when he spoke to y'all last week and went through the conversation, and I appreciate your patience and with us and the county. And if there were, I tell you what, if I were county judge of Fort Bend County, there'd be about 4 employees. There'd be somebody over. We'd have a sheriff's department, for sure. So I guess we're more than 4. We'd have some type of fire team. We would have emergency management staff, so somebody determining floodplains, make sure we're compliant on culverts and septic, and that'd be it. There'd be nobody else. No other county employees, no other bureaucracy, no other of this garbage telling you water well permit for this. They have water well, by the way, that Fort Bend County is making them pay, and they have an annual fee for the water well. Because a water well, folks, is on your own property.
Yeah, that's your water. What?
Yeah, well,
That doesn't make any sense.
Fort Bend County
Oh,
will get a piece of that. So yes, so thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for the shout out for the team. I do know that they did work hard, and you were very patient and understanding. But yeah, do not hesitate to get involved in local politics, folks. That's where the real change happens. Forget about
mhm.
Washington D.C. Forget about the state level. Doesn't matter. Your county, your school district,
Matters.
your school board,
Yeah.
that matters a lot. Your cities, that's where expensive stuff happens. That's actually going to affect you and your household. So if you're going to get involved at a level, that's the level I recommend, and come in heavy. And because your voice is actually way more leverage there than it is at the national level. I think we can all agree that
Mhm.
the two senators that come from our state probably don't care a whole lot about what we have to say about what's going on and on our culvert in County Road 248. So anyway, thank you
All
very
right.
much for saying that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And then we've got Anne saying, thanks, y'all. Great as usual. Happy 4th. Happy 4th
Happy
to
4th of
you.
July. Happy 4th of July, Dawn.
Happy 4th of July, Eric.
All right, folks. Well, thank you all for watching. We appreciate you stopping in. Obviously, don't let it end here. Get a hold of us. Reach out to us. We want to be sure you have all the information that you need. We're grateful that you watched. We hope it was beneficial, and we genuinely soon to hope make you part of the Tilson family. We'll see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.